Hey there, my little Biz Besties. Welcome back to In Good Company, where real entrepreneurs share real growth stories. Thanks for liking and subscribing to my channel. Let's get into it.
So you're doing all that yourself, are you not? Or did you end up hiring someone?
No, I'm doing it all myself. And I used to get into photography as a hobby, so I got a nice DSLR. I can't, you know what I'm talking about, the big nice cameras.
The good ones. So it's going to the source to find who you need to call to help fix that problem.
So any big corporate business with shareholders, they want to see a profit. They want to see quarterly earnings increase every quarter. He's kind of, he reminded me of me because like I got ordained and I can do weddings.
Thank you, Austin.
I got ordained and I can do weddings, and I'll probably never ever do a wedding, but I was like,
why'd you do it?
I was like, that sounds cool. Let me do it.
You should do a wedding.
So, and that's what I told my wife. I said, I'm gonna see if somebody let me do their wedding. And she's like, why would you want to ruin their wedding?
Well, I mean, they'd have to know you.
Yeah, it'd be somebody I knew. Like, do you? Or are you sure? It's like,
why'd you do it? Just for fun? Just because?
Yeah, just because. Like back when we got married, I seen this guy and what he made off of this and stuff. And I was like, and I used to get into photography as a hobby, so I got a nice DSLR or whatever, DSLR. I can't, you know what I'm talking about, the big nice cameras.
The good ones.
Yeah, I got all of that stuff. And
are you doing anything with it?
No, I play with it.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I might set it up and do like promo stuff. But I tell you, since ChatGPT come along, I don't even do that.
You've been on it. You've been on the the photos. I saw some of your stuff on Facebook.
So I'm just like for reviews, for example, I had a lady that just left me a nice big long review on Yelp.
Okay.
So I screenshot it and to an image in my phone, and I uploaded it to ChatGPT and said, post this review. I said, take this Yelp review and make a Facebook post for my company highlighting this review. And it's bam, there it was. Like 3 seconds later. And I was like, cool.
You're unstoppable.
Yeah. So I figured out how to crop out a furnace and then create the furnace PNG image with the clear background. So I can take that furnace and stick it in different images. And
cool.
I've been playing.
Yeah.
And actually, like Paul Cobb's been a big help.
Really?
Yeah, he's the AI guru,
guy.
but he's telling me how he searches for properties because my real estate company, I'm making more in real estate right now than I am heat and air.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
did not know that.
Well, I started Your Best Homes.
When?
It was back in June.
Okay.
And
because you had already been doing some.
Yeah, I had a couple rentals.
Yeah.
But what I was doing is taking, any extra money I had, I'm a construction guy. I don't have a 401k and a retirement. And,
sure. And you work for yourself.
Yeah. So my
retirement
the way I keep thinking, if I fall off a ladder tomorrow, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So that got me buying rental properties. Yeah. That got me buying rental properties. In fact, I deal with Eric at Kentucky on a mortgage. He just done a cash out refi on 2 of them.
Really?
And then I'm about to send him some more.
Oh yeah.
And because it's my wife was like, they're paid for because I don't own any of them.
Okay.
And she's like, let's just keep that mailbox money because they're all renting. I got one that's like $1,900 a month rent, and some 800s, a couple 900s.
Yeah. So
and
just
she's like, just keep it that way. And I'm like, but I got to pay taxes on that income. I was like, but if I cash out refi, now I got a mortgage and I could deduct interest and,
changes the game.
I can start having some deductions so I'm not getting hit as hard at the end of the year.
Are you managing all those properties?
Yes. Which is, I tease my wife and I tell her that I had bangs when we met. And, but that's
cute.
Yeah. I'm like, it's your fault. I had bangs when we met. And honestly, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be nowhere near where I'm at now. Like I'm sitting pretty comfortable now.
Yeah.
There's still work every day, get up and have to work every day. It's not that good, unfortunately, but.
Well, it doesn't sound like you'd be happy if you didn't have something to do.
And this was one of the things like back in my military days, I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And they always told me, all the higher ups told me that I thrive in chaos. Yeah. Like I'm the guy that wants to jump into a bunch of chaos and start, you do this, you do that, and put order to it.
You do it well, yeah.
Yeah, put order to it, get the project done. Yeah. You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, it was like, you do this, that, you know, I'm asking you once, telling you twice, third time you're gone.
Yeah.
You know.
And you do that every day now.
Yeah, and now it's my life.
What do you think your wife, how did she change?
Well, coming from like going through the military and all that stuff, looking back, I didn't realize it, but I was still very immature.
Okay.
I wasn't fiscally responsible.
Sure.
You know, when I met my wife, I had like a 480 credit score. Now I'm pushing 800.
Yeah.
And
okay, so she kind of whipped you into shape.
Yes.
In responsibility.
And there's some stuff that a lot of people don't know about me. When I met her, I was homeless. I was
didn't know that. We've talked several times. I never knew that.
I was homeless for a while. Went through a rough divorce, so to speak. You know, I still went to work every day, but I was squatting in a vacant apartment downtown. Yeah. You know, I'd walk around, I'd still have slacks and a polo on or whatever. And, you know, I didn't look like a homeless man, but if I seen a change on the street, I was picking it up because that was my gas money to get back to work the next day.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking days without eating. I remember sleeping in my truck and having to get up every 20 minutes and start it because it was cold.
Really?
And because I was homeless and broke and everything, I had to, I was doing like cash advances because I got to where I was starting to get my paycheck again because, you know, not to talk about the other divorce, but I'd had no access to the accounts and, you know, so it was a bad situation.
So you finally were able to get some cash.
But I was behind I was doing check advances and things like that
you have to pay back as soon as you get the check.
So it's like, what am I going to do?
The cycle.
I felt like I was treading water.
Yeah.
I was depressed. And it's kind of in a bad place. All I wanted to do is go to the bars on weekends, drink, and be stupid.
Yeah, and then have no money.
Yeah, and then have no money. And I didn't even have money to do that. My friends would like buy me drinks, you know.
Borrow time.
Yeah. But when I met my wife, I was just now coming out of that. I got a lease on the apartment that I was previously squatting in because I knew the manager. And he was like, Donnie, get off the street. You're going to lay in this apartment. We're going to work on getting you a lease. And, you know, and he helped me out. And so I was staying there. And then I was starting to get back. And then, like, I remember after I met my wife, we was, this is how bad I wanted things to work, you know, because, you know, when you find somebody that makes you better and makes you want to be better, you're willing to go that extra mile.
Sure.
So, like, as we're dating, you know, and she was staying with her sister at the time. And, you know, she's like, you want to go get something to eat this, you know, tomorrow night or whatever? I'm like, sure. I'm like, crap, now how am I going to pay for that?
How am I going to pay for this date now?
And I remember us going to El Nepal over in New Albany. And I would tell her that I had a big lunch, you know, that I wasn't hungry. I'd get a glass of water, you know, and then that way I could pay for her food. Because I didn't have enough
to be there. You wanted to just be there.
Yeah, I didn't have enough to pay for both of us. So, you know, I made sure she ate and, you know, and I took her back home and dropped her off and, you know, and that's how it started. And then after a few months, I was good at hiding it. You know, I remember when I was squatting in a vacant apartment, my mom would come by because she worked downtown on Muhammad Ali at an insurance company. And she would come by and she always had peanut butter crackers in her console. And she'd say, I want to come up and see your apartment. I'm like, oh, no, Mom, not right now. I got guests over. But, oh, that's my favorite peanut butter crackers. Can I have those? Yeah. You know, that type of thing. And I was
just trying to find.
Well, I had too much pride to let anybody know where I was at the time. You know, and I would do without before I took $1 from anybody. So I wouldn't let nobody know my situation.
Right.
And, you know, and my wife and I, we dated a few months before she was like, you know, something's not right here.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when did something click?
And then, you know, so she's like, you know, what's going on? And, you know, I came clean with her with everything. And I was like, this is what's going on. I just, you know, I'm not going to be that guy like, hey, you know, I know we're just now dating, but can you pay for dinner? You know? And I wasn't going to be
But you came clean. You're like, I need to let you got to know what's going on.
Yeah. So, and as she started to catch on to, you know, seeing how that I only spent money when I needed to and stuff.
Yeah.
And so she talked and she actually helped me. Like she's like, well, here, what do you owe in the check advance place? And I was like, well, I owe them $500, but it was $800, and I pay it down a little bit each time.
Yeah.
It's like,
enough
I pay
to
the
get
loan
more,
back, but I
and
still
then-
have to have my money. So I have to get, and then I get $100 less the next week borrowed from them. And
Right.
I said, I'm down to 500. And she's like, well, here, just 500, pay it off. And
Did that feel weird?
It felt weird.
Yeah.
And we started dating, and then we moved in together, bought a condo out in Fern Creek. But that going through that told me, I told myself, I was like, I will never, ever be in this position again. I will work 7 days a week, whatever it takes. I'll never be homeless, and I'll never be broke.
Yeah.
I don't care what. And she was that driving force that, was like, she told me, she said something about, she's like, you're super smart, but you lack the focus. She's like, you're random. It's like squirrel over here.
Yeah.
But no,
she gave you a little guidance.
She gave me that guidance and was there and made me want to be better. I'm like, we're a team now. And, because in past relationships, it never felt like a team. Because she was willing to help me, we felt like a team.
And that's everything.
So then I started diving into HVAC,
just
even
randomly,
more serious.
or were you already doing that?
No, I was doing it.
Okay.
But it was like, it was a paycheck on Fridays. It wasn't, in my head, it wasn't a career, it was a paycheck.
Yeah.
So when you shift that focus from the week paycheck each week mentality to a career path, then you're instead of thinking about what you're going to do this weekend, you think about what you're going to be doing in the trade 3 years from now, 5 years from now.
Totally different energy.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's like, am I going to be crawling in crawl spaces full of spider webs the rest, like this, making, this much, $15 an hour or whatever for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I going to do in 5 years, 10 years? And I always she gave me that guidance. And then like she had a cousin that owned a heat and air company, and we talked, and then I went to work for him, and he got me introduced into boilers and commercial stuff that because I was residential for so long, and he started training me and teaching me that stuff.
The bigger jobs,
the bigger stuff. And, and then I went to another company to where I was like the service manager and grew in that company. And then there were some issues there.
Is that before? Yeah. Before.
Yeah. And,
but you learned every place
it was
you
right,
took.
It was right before. It's like I took something away from every place.
Yeah.
And then when I left my last job, and that morning that I left that job, I had no intentions on leaving that job.
Right.
I was like, I was content there, but it's just a series of events and a few people with tempers, and I was just like, I think I'm out.
I'm done. And before that happened, you were in a networking group.
I was in a networking group, but
for representing a different company.
And but I was smart enough, and actually, I'm not even gonna take credit for that. My wife told me, you need to pay your dues in that networking company. You need to do that
yourself.
You need to do that yourself. Because, she had listened to some Dave Ramsey back in the day about your name is your brand and all that stuff.
You knew what was up.
And even back then, like, I don't now, obviously, but even when I worked for other companies, I had DonnieSatterly.com. And I created just a Vistaprint $10 website page with my picture on it. And I had real estate investors. They would call me up like handyman. I was doing handyman services, basically. One lady called me, and I'd put a tile backsplash on her countertops. I'd go cut out carpet at a door that's a dog chewed up, and, I'd pull the carpet out of the closet so it matched and seam it back in, and you couldn't tell it was there. And
so a little odd and end jobs.
I was doing that stuff
under Donnie Satterly.
Yeah, and I was doing that and cash work. It wasn't a legit business, It was just people were needing help, and I was helping them because I can't sit still. But
so you had this seat under your name. representing a different company, but same industry.
Right. It was another heating and air company that I was working with at the time, working like a service manager and helping out in the office, whatever, and kind of overseeing things,
Yes. Is that where you learned a lot of the office or the back end stuff?
And honestly, going out on my own, that was the shock because not that I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I've done this long enough that I can solve most problems. I don't look at heating and air like traditional contractors. Our industry is so full of parts changers. Like yesterday, for a prime example, yesterday, I got a call. Lady said, some guy said her, named off 3 parts in her heat pump. Well, those are actually like the only 3 parts that could go wrong. So he didn't know what was wrong. So he gave her an ungodly price of
He said all of them.
Yeah, he gave her a price of like $1,500 to change all 3 parts because he didn't know.
He just didn't know at this point.
Yeah, and so she calls me yesterday morning and she's like, Donnie, I know you're busy. You don't have to come over here. I'm just going to have him go on and do the repair. And I was like, no. It was in Shepherdsville. I was like, I'm coming down 65 now on my way to Lebanon Junction.
Close to you.
Yeah, my shop is actually my shop is in Shepherdsville, but I'm I'm like the Hillview area
on the border.
On the border. And but I went by there and just the circuit board was unplugged. Everything was, and but she said, well, I don't want to waste a bunch of money on service fees and people coming out and give me second opinions and stuff. And I said, ma'am, I'm not charging you a dime. I'm gonna come out there. I'm gonna verify what he says was true or false. If it's true, I'll give you a price for the repair. If it's false, and then I'll let you know. If it's true, and and I think that he, that's a legitimate quote, I'll tell you, go ahead and go for it.
Yeah.
But when I got done, she's like, oh, thank you for fixing it. Their heat was running. I was out there about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No parts needed. And she was like, well, what do I owe you? And I was like, oh, ma'am, I told you I was doing a free estimate. And I had to do what I did to verify what was wrong and stuff. So technically I didn't, you're running is a free estimate. If you need anything else in the future, call me, So, and then at that point,
do you find that happening a lot where people just, sometimes they don't know?
So many second opinions because of that. Oh my goodness. Because all of your big companies, there's one in town that I'm not going to say names because I know a lot of people over there, but they're a conglomeration. It was a media company from out of state that come in and bought a company and then started buying, somebody started auditing other companies and they bought, 10 or 11 companies, but their service costs are twice as mine.
Really?
But it's a double-edged sword because our industry and our ticket prices are starting to go up so drastically because of these people, these private equity companies that are coming in and buying.
Yeah.
There's your 5 biggest companies in Louisville are owned by private equity companies. 2 of them out of Indianapolis, 1 out of Texas. They're not local companies no more. And
do you think people, does that make a difference?
It makes a difference because of the cost.
Okay.
Because they got 100 trucks and overhead out the yin yang that they need to cover.
Sure.
So
and that reflects in their price.
A capacitor service call that my guys are doing for $289, they're doing for just under $500. The same exact call.
So they have to pay their bills by raising their prices.
Right. Plus they got spreadsheets and they got to show these high growing profit margins to the private to the shareholders and stuff. They got shareholders, and like any business, any big corporate business with shareholders, they want to see a profit. They want to see quarterly earnings increase every quarter, and they want to see,
Yes.
And the reason for those private equity companies, they come in and buy all these companies, and they do that. They start showing these sales. They keep upping rates, and then they try to sell off to a hedge fund or something like that to liquidate. And but I've actually lost work because of it. I seen one of the private equity companies. It was a job. I think I was $8,500 for the job. She showed me the estimate from a private equity company that was $12,500. And I was like, well, I've got this job.
Yeah.
Well, she called another company
they're going to use me for sure.
Yeah. She called another company that was actually owned by the same private equity firm.
Okay.
And their price was about the same. And so about a week later, I call her back, touching base, because it was an elderly woman. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm bothered that you don't have heat. If I have to, if you got a deposit you can put down, and we'll break it up into 6 months payments or something. I'll finance it in-house if I have to. I want you to have heat. It's go out to get cold. And she's like, oh, I've replaced that. I replaced that the other day. I got heat. What? And I was like, so if you don't mind me asking, who did you use?
Yeah.
And she used one of the private equity companies. And I was like, so there's about a $4,000 difference between me and them. Why did you choose them?
Right.
And she said, well, you were so much cheaper. I didn't know if you were apples to apples, or maybe it was one, she said, or maybe it was one of those you get what you pay for scenarios, you know?
So you underprice yourself and now.
Right. I actually underpriced myself because I had a decent markup. I knew what my overhead was, the cost of the equipment. You know, I have spreadsheets for that. In fact, my dispatch software that's on my phone and my tablet and everything, I have that auto-populated in there. I can click this, there's a price.
Right.
You know, that way my guys can price a job if I'm not there.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and
so because you price too low, does that happen all the time? I've never heard that.
Twice in the last month.
Okay, really?
Yes. But at the same time, I'm not going to just screw it. I'm going to start being 10, 11,000 all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel right doing that, you know?
It's crazy.
But because there's a lot of companies like me that are the small mom and pop local companies. There's still some of those out there. And my prices are in accordance with that scale, you know?
Sure.
So if they had one of those other companies come in, you know, they would have still been about the same price I was, you know? So it's almost like, there's a big division in our industry. You know, these big high-end companies, these private equity companies, they're pricing up here. All of us mom and pop shops are, you know, on average, you know, in this range right here. But when you get this company and this company bidding them together, it doesn't look apples to apples no more.
Interesting.
No, it looks like lemons and grapefruits. I mean,
and people see a franchise or a big name and they think better service.
They think better service. They think better service. They don't understand that those big companies, everybody's on commission. Those are all commission guys. Like I have a friend that works at one of the big companies, and he don't make much money at all. But he just went and bought a $120,000 Ford Raptor because every time he goes to a house and sells you a new system, he gets a $300 commission. And he might get 3 of those a day on top of his hourly pay.
Those are nice trucks.
Yeah.
Richard likes them.
Yeah, they're nice. But
damn, that's crazy. So, okay, so you didn't learn all your, we'll say the admin stuff from the previous job.
No, and that's something that it's kind of like,
are you learning as you
go? Sink or swim. You got to learn as you go. Yeah. You know,
no, you're doing all that yourself, are you not? Or did you end up hiring someone?
No, I'm doing it all myself. But I have a system. Like my niece comes and
right.
I got, you know, we turn all of our receipts into. We got a tote in the shop. All the receipts go into it.
That's my worst nightmare.
And well, she comes in once a month and uploads all of them into QuickBooks.
Okay.
And unfortunately, my evenings are spent sitting here on my phone going through quick categorizing receipts. That's my evening. Or typing estimates because I'm in the field working through the day, and then in the evenings I'm coming in doing the administrative stuff.
You're the person that I'm talking about every single week.
Yeah, and I'm doing the administrative.
Do you feel convicted when I say that? I'm like, if you're doing your work at night or the weekends, let me know.
Now you're going to tax shame
Donald.
Now you're tax shaming.
Now I'm going to shame you.
No,
so she's helping you with that, but
she's doing that, and of course I'm categorizing them and stuff. And then
you're still doing all that yourself?
Yeah.
And the marketing?
Yeah.
And answering the calls?
Yes. Donnie. I just started using an AI 2 weeks ago that I can forward to that AI during the evenings, like at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Like answering?
Yeah. And what it does is it'll say, thank you for calling Your Best HVAC. My name's Jessica. How can I help you? And
what?
And it'll carry on a conversation. It's like $50 a month. And it'll carry on a conversation with them. And I got it trained to where I'm trying to collect their name, address, email.
Right.
And it already has the phone number from the caller ID. And then it sends me a text and an email with that information on it, of a transcript of their conversation. And then 9 out of 10 times I call that customer back within 10 or 15 minutes. Because I have to get the text message on, I need to call them and schedule this appointment.
I've never heard of this before.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
So what if they ask questions? Or does it just ask for a
It's
message?
it'll go through and if it's you say something it doesn't, because when I first was doing it, I had my wife calling it in the other room.
Sure.
And,
Make sure.
And it was like, what if I run over my AC with a semi truck and do, and she was
stuff.
trying to throw curveballs at it, and it
Yeah.
would say, well, we can definitely get someone out to look at it. It would say, or we can get someone out to answer that question.
Yeah.
It was trying to tell them that, outside of the base information, when someone needs to come out there, because in any construction industry, you always get people that call and want an estimate over the phone, and you don't know what you're estimating.
Sure. It's the same for
They'll
me.
say, hey, I need a new system. Well, what do you have? Do you know what tonnage it is? Do you know how wide your furnace is? How many BTU? How about I come out and do a free estimate, because, estimates are free. If anybody is calling the big companies and they need a furnace. I went to another one. One of the big companies, they went out there and told the lady she needed a new one because she had an old Lennox furnace.
Okay.
But her AC unit was only 3 years old, her AC and coil. But I said, well, why did they say you need a new furnace? I was just there for a free quote. And I said, well, why did they say? And they said, well, I had a damaged heat exchanger. And I said, would you mind if I take a look?
Yeah.
I looked. She didn't. She had a dirty flame sensor that I took. I took it and I put it on my pants like that, cleaned it off like that, stuck it back in there. And I was like,
fine.
yeah, and it's fine because a flame sensor grounds itself to the flame and it gets soot and stuff on it.
Sure.
The burners will come on for 3 seconds and shut right back off. And he had told her that it was just overheating. That's because of all these commission tech. They're called sales techs instead of service techs now.
Oh, interesting.
And nobody's a service tech anymore. Everybody's a service tech or a sales tech. They're not service tech anymore.
Yikes. That doesn't sound like someone you'd want working on your stuff.
And these big companies, they tell them, if you can't figure it out in 15 minutes, sell them a new one. Oh. And to me, I get kind of stubborn. If one of my service guys calls and says, hey, I'm having a problem finding this, I'll ask them some information. I have guys from other companies that call me and say, hey,
I need your opinion on something.
This is doing this. This is doing this. What would cause that?
Yeah.
And I'll say, well, did you check this? Last time I saw that, it was because of this, and I'll get stubborn with it. If I don't know it, I'm on my way. If my guys are doing something that I can't talk them through, I'm on my way. And if I have to, I'll send him somewhere else because obviously I don't want to pay a guy, but even though I'm on payroll,
because you're
is a little more different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to send him somewhere else because he needs to cover his payroll.
Sure.
So I may send him somewhere else and then I'll dive into that. I've had times I had an electrical short and it was just a loose wire nut on a wire in a ceiling going across the ceiling in a basement that I couldn't even see. And I ended up running new wire because I narrowed it down to that point. But I was there 2 hours going through and I was like, because 1 minute it would work fine. And I'm like, well, it's okay. And as soon as I'd put the screw in the door, pick up my tool bag, the furnace would shut off. Put it back down, open everything back up, do it again. But I'm not charging the customer for that, 2 or 3 hours I spent diagnosing it because most problems can be solved and the problem can be found within 30 minutes.
Okay.
But those rare problems, sometimes those rare problems, I get stubborn and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to find this if I got to order dinner here.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving until this is figured out because I just get stubborn that way. I can't.
You won't stop.
I can't tell
until
it.
you
I
find
can't
it.
in good conscience say, oh yeah, you need a new furnace because I'm a dummy and can't figure it out. I'm not that guy. And
if you're there.
Well, even if my guys are there,
there,
I refuse to give my guys commission. I know people with other companies, I know a lot of the people that run some of the bigger companies in town with, 20 trucks or 30 trucks, whatever, and they'll say, well, Donnie, you got to be in and out. You got to, there's spreadsheets and numbers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't, because if I don't know it and I can't figure it out in 30 minutes, it's a challenge. It's like, oh no, this furnace ain't going to get the best of me. I'm going to show you, I got to tear into it and get it.
So your guys are not paid on commission. Do you think that makes a difference with quality of service?
Yes and no. I don't think it makes a difference as far as quality of service. You know, they're going to do their job the best they can. But I don't have to worry about them trying to force a sale.
So you have more peace of mind.
Yeah, there's times that people do need new equipment. I had one a couple of weeks ago. The furnace came on, and we usually, every time we turn the furnace on, we watch the burners. When the blower kicks on, if that wind from that blower affects those flames, I know the heat exchanger is damaged because that's a sealed unit. So the air just blows across the heat exchanger. If it's blowing air into it and those flames start going backwards, I had one, as soon as the blower kicked on, the flame shot out the front of the unit. And so and on the back of the door, the furnace was black because it'd been doing that for a while. And I'm
Sounds problematic.
Yeah, I'm like, you need a new furnace, you know? And I'm like,
but very rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We try to repair, and not only does it build trust with a customer, but from a business standpoint, you build that trust from that customer and you take care of that furnace for 4 or 5 more years or whatever. When the time comes, and you'd say, okay, it is dead.
It's time now.
It's time.
Yeah.
They're going to know that I'm not trying to sell them anything.
They're going to believe you.
They're going to believe me. You build that trust with that customer, and they're not going to shop around. They're going to use you to replace that furnace because you have that trust that you've built. And
you're really good at marketing, meaning you leave your magnet or sticker behind.
Yes, we have.
So they see it.
We have stickers. That's just
which I love that you do that.
A cutout of my logo we put on the furnaces.
Yeah. Your little guy.
I've got with the guys over at Welch Printing, and I have like a half sheet paper with my logo at the top, and it looks like a notepad. So and we put that on there so that you can log every time you change the filter and all that stuff.
Oh, nice! I love that.
When we install systems, we put like a clear sleeve, like a service bag that you see at a car dealership with your information in.
Yeah.
We put those on there with that sticker on the front, Sharpie, where you can write on it.
Yeah.
The books and the paperwork, the warranty and everything is
right there for them.
Everything's there. And I mean,
people don't remember, unless they have a lot of problems.
Well, there was one of the things I've started kind of redirecting to as far as marketing is getting the imprinted thermostats with my name on them. Because
that sounds fancy.
Well, and Honeywell is the most used thermostat, and they actually Honeywell sent me the doors, like the battery cover on the bottom of the thermostat, with my name printed on. They sent me a box of 100. So when I buy their thermostats, if I install their thermostats, I just change the battery cover and my name's printed on it.
How did you work that out?
They do it for all the contractors that
really?
through the local supply houses that they'll do that for their contractors that are buying those thermostats.
And your name's
it's printed. It'll say Your Best HVAC and then a phone number right under it. There was actually a study, and I found about it through one of the head sales guys over at Plumber Supply. There's a study where they call X amount of people, and they say, what brand furnace do you have? And they said like 70% of them said Honeywell. Well, Honeywell don't make a furnace. It makes thermostats and things like that. So, you have your younger generation that don't know anything about a furnace. They're not mechanically inclined. If it's not a computer, they don't know it or a video game. So all they see is the thermostat. They turn it up and down. It says Honeywell across the top. That's the brand thermostat.
That's my brand.
So they think that's the brand system they have in their house.
Yes.
And
I probably would think that.
And didn't you get, the older, the 50.
I don't think I'm that much younger than you, but yes.
Well, the 50 plus people, a lot of them don't, especially in your 70s and 80s, they're not going down basement steps or nothing. No. So they might not know what furnace that they have. They just see the Honeywell.
Yeah.
If there's a problem and my number's right there, that's who they're calling before they even do the Google searches and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So it's going to the source to find who you need to call to help fix that problem.
So, and I want my number in front of them. And I've even started doing some like refrigerator magnets and stuff because a lot of the older people like the old school refrigerator magnets.
Yeah.
Plus, it's on the refrigerator, not in the basement on the furnace. So it's kind of
just go right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only do we install the stickers and booklets and everything on new equipment that we install, but if I'm at your house for a service call, I'm gonna have that sticker on it. But that's a good opportunity for the refrigerator magnet, or if I'm putting a new thermostat on, I want to make sure we change that at base battery coverage, so my name's printed on it.
Yeah.
You know, because
So you're around the house when
Yeah.
people need.
we do a lot of real estate inspections. I'm one of the few, just
What?
because we do a lot of real estate inspections.
Really?
And yeah, Tom. In fact, I'm meeting Tom Tuesday on one.
As a home inspector?
No, not as a home inspector, but just for the HVAC stuff.
Okay. Did not know.
Oh yeah, because
What are you doing?
like I had a realtor send me out to one in Shelbyville, and one of my guys went out there and done it. Well, he started sending me pictures. Oh, this exhaust is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. The floor was covered in water. They said they said their furnace leaked. Well, it's because the drain wasn't hooked up correctly. They had a pipe like this sitting over a pipe like this, and it was just sitting there. So
Yeah.
naturally, the water's going to run right back out. You know,
That's probably not a good thing if it's
no.
leaking.
And it was condensation water. Condensate water, a lot of people don't realize it, but the condensate from your air conditioner and stuff is acidic. Like you can't drink that water. It looks clear and clean and all that stuff, but it's acidic because it's coming off those metal coils. And, you know, so when you got that leaking all over your floor and you got a dog down there licking the water off the floor,
For sure.
you know, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm actually meeting the realtor Tuesday on that house to go over all this with him.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer just a simple inspection.
But it's empty.
Yeah, it's an empty house. One of the reasons I like the real estate inspections is, you know, the realtor knows me. Even sometimes the seller knows me. But I'm allowed. Then I go in and to me it's cheap marketing.
Oh,
I'm getting
for
paid
sure.
I'm getting paid to be there. But then I
Yeah.
sticker this furnace. Well, the people buying that house don't know me.
Right. And so
But now
now
they
they
have
have
my
an
information.
introduction to you
Yeah.
without you having to be there.
Right. So now it's
I love
something,
that.
if they go down to their furnace, there's my sticker. Well, this is who's been serving this furnace. I'll
Right.
just call him.
It's easier, the path of, least resistance
Right.
instead of Googling, HVAC in my area. Well, I'll just use the one that I see
Yeah.
every time I go down there.
That's,
I love that.
yeah, I like it.
So you're not sleeping these days.
No, I try.
You're
And-
sleeping less than you
in
were.
fact, it sounds kind of sounds bad, but I got this little thing at the end of my couch. It's like a cushion with cup holders in it and a little spot for
Sure.
storage or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but it's a cushion. And I have a bottle of melatonin gummies in it.
Yeah.
I don't,
Delicious.
I think the dose is 2 gummies, but I take 1 gummy at 7:00 and I can fall asleep at 10. If I don't take it, I won't fall asleep. There's been a lot of nights where I lay there until the alarm goes off, and I'll close my eyes and try,
Yeah.
but I can't turn it off. I'm thinking,
But melatonin helps.
I'm thinking, did I order the ductwork for that job?
Right.
Did this is this and this and this? Okay, well,
'Cause you
my
need
brain's just
It will not stop
it will not stop. I can't shut it off.
because you need an assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
But
definitely.
you have your AI assistant, which is really
Well,
cool.
and that's a temporary
That's
Band-Aid.
until you.
That's a temporary Band-Aid. Like I was telling someone, I got a call from the company I use for payroll. And they were like, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. We can do 401s. You know, you're missing out on tax benefits. And I was like, look, if I'm wanting to grow, of course, every company wants to grow, but I need to I need to alleviate the administrative side of it, pull that off of me so that I can start focusing on
Yeah.
the business and growing the business.
So your head
and doing,
can be in it.
yeah. So because like my guys are on a job, I pull up on the job, phone rings, I'm sitting in my truck on the tablet.
Yeah.
Then I got to run and get materials, and then I'm back, and it's like, crap. You know, it's like there's so many
Fires that you're
yeah, there's so many. I'm
yeah.
being pulled in so many directions that it's.
Yeah.
So my next step in growth would definitely be hiring that dispatcher or some, for someone
Some
from an
kind of
office capacity,
Coordinator or something.
somebody that can answer that phone.
Yeah.
That they can keep that phone. and
Carrie, right? Carrie Glass. I think they have Above Mechanical or something.
oh yeah.
I know Carrie.
Preston, her husband
Preston,
and I used
that's
to work
it.
together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've known each other for a while. We was in, like 2 years ago, we was in Punta Cana together.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I've known
well,
Carrie and Preston for.
I've known Carrie a little while. But the reason I bring her up is she knew a lot of people that were in the admin side of the HVAC world. So when you get to that point, she might be a good contact to reach out to.
Yeah,
find
well,
that.
she went to work with, because as those hedge fund people come in and start buying these companies, she went to work with them, and even when Preston didn't work with her, she worked at one HVAC company, he worked at another,
Yeah.
and it was like
That's where her and I met.
yeah, I think when Preston and I worked together several years ago, I think she was working at Care.
Yeah.
She was working at another heating and air company. Of course, they've since bankrupt, and
Yeah. That's where Carrie and I met.
yeah,
I was their accountant.
really.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Bless his soul.
and see, I think that's a part of me not knowing the administrative side is kind of like being thrown into the fire and just making it work.
But you do know it.
I know it.
You're doing it.
I know it. I'm doing it, but I think there's room for improvement.
Well, yeah, because your head's out here and here.
Right.
You need someone to just focus on here.
Right.
But you also, going back to when you started, I didn't hear any parts of, I've always wanted to own my own business.
No,
you didn't say that.
Well, no, like
You did it because you felt like, well, this is what I'm doing now.
well, it was one of those things that I quit a job before I had a backup plan, and on my way home, I was like, I was still doing, my side job Bob stuff for people, patching carpets and laying tile and whatever I needed to do
To get by and...
But I was still doing that. So I already had a van and tools and things like that for that stuff. I had a plain white, creeper van, with a bag of candy on the dash. But
I'd expect nothing less.
and but it was full of nail guns and table saws and miter saws and things like that.
Yeah.
And
so you had a shop already with you.
pretty much. So I had to go home, back up to my garage that day, pull all that stuff out. And it's like, okay, now I go to Plows tomorrow, start buying capacitors and contactors and heating and air parts because my phone's still ringing. And I was pretty much
figure out what to do now.
I was pretty much, my next day was booked. My schedule was booked the next day instantly. It's like under myself.
Donnie Satterly.
Yeah. And it was like, okay.
So you were preparing for this moment. You just didn't realize that.
Yeah. I had a customer list. I've done boilers. I'm one of the only small companies in town that's state licensed for boilers.
Oh, I know. People are constantly coming to you for it.
I do that. I have other companies that call me and say, hey, we're doing this job and it's got a boiler down here. Can you come over here and service it for us? I just done a boiler in a church the other day, and a guy that I know that owns another heating and air company called me to go do that boiler for him. I got another friend that owns another heating and air company.
Is it a special license?
Yeah.
Okay.
That, and there's just a lot of people aren't doing it anymore.
Why?
Because for starters, in our industry, everybody thinks residential is where the money's at. You go in, you make a couple $100 and moving on to the next one, and they think the volume is better.
That can be your bread and butter.
That could be your bread and butter, and it is. But, where I am older, you said we're not that far apart, but I'm in my 50s. And yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll always be 43 to
my
me.
bangs were here at 20, 30, 40, 50, so...
You'll
I'm like a tree with rings. You count the rings, see how old you are. You take a tape measure and measure from here to here, and it tells you how old I am.
You'll always be 42 to me.
Yeah. But
so you got to give yourself some, I don't even know, some time, some relaxing.
Well, I'm
maybe
working.
take 2 melatonin, get wild.
Yeah. And sleep the whole next day.
Yeah.
And,
would you? No, you
no,
wouldn't. You wouldn't.
One night, about a month or so ago,
Tell me.
It was like a Saturday night. I didn't have to work the next morning. It was a Friday night, actually. Because I remember I got service calls and ended up having to work Saturday.
Yeah.
And but I'm sitting there and I'm watching I'll get a series on TV, like Chicago Fire or something. I don't know, just
That
something.
you'll get into.
But I'll watch season 1, episode 1 that was 13 years ago. And I'll start watching it. And then 2 months
new
later,
to you.
2 months later, I'm on season 14, because I'm watching 2 episodes every night. I don't watch no other show until that season's done.
Dedicated.
I'll watch it. And so I stayed up until I got this little Yorkie, and that's my little baby.
That's your baby.
That's my little baby.
Even though you don't like animals.
Well, I told my wife, and this is It's funny. I told my wife, when we got married, that there's 3 things I never want in my house: dogs, cats, and kids. And
now your dog is your kid.
right.
And it's this cute. She is the sweetest, cutest little thing I've ever seen.
Well, she sees it was my stepdaughter's dog.
Okay.
So when she got older and needed more, because the dog's like 11, but she's down in her hips. She's got collapsed trachea. She has seizures. I mean, she's got
things. She's got baggage.
So starting at like 5 a.m, she's got to have medicine. And so we feed her, it's either 6 or 8 times a day.
Yeah.
But it's little portions with her medicine.
She's needy.
Yeah. And, we got our medicine laid out, and then on the thing it says this is her 6 p.m. and her 7 a.m. and this is it.
Like her pill.
Yeah, we actually got the pill containers.
Yeah.
And like this one says 6 p.m. and there's Monday, Tuesday, and she's got like 4 pills in it. And we open that day and dump it in her food and feed her.
And got to do it.
But
so you were watching a show.
And
you getting wild watching your show at night.
Well, I watched it. Next thing I know, I hear my wife's alarm go off to give her 5 o'clock medicine. So I get up and I go in there and turn the alarm off. I'm like, I got it. Go back to bed. And so I go in there and give her medicine, and then and you got to know this dog. Like, she's not a cuddler. She's not like.
That's so perfect though for you. Do you wish she did? Really? Okay.
So I got her down pat. It like when she gets her 6 o'clock meal or whatever, she'll eat. And if I lay on the couch afterwards, she'll get on the couch and lay right here in front of me and cuddle with me.
That's nice.
And so I'm like, so if I get up and feed her and I don't come back to bed, my wife knows I'm in there getting my cuddles.
Sure.
So and then if my wife says I'm gonna give Ella a bath, I'm like, well, hold on, give me 30 minutes. I'll go in and get my shower out of the way and everything. Yeah. And I got like an electric blanket on the couch. I'll turn it on like number 2 real low. Yeah. I'll get on the couch and she's wet. So she runs right over to the couch and jumps in there, and I'll cover her up with the electric blanket. And
I'll set the trap.
I set the trap.
Yeah.
I set the trap. Like, I got it.
You're mine now.
So, and she's a spoiled little brat because like, she's got a bed in every room. She's got 2 beds in the living room, one in the office, one at the foot of our bed. She sleeps in when if we're in bed, she goes in there to bed. If my wife's working in the office, she goes in there and lays down.
That's your baby.
Yeah. And then our ottoman in front of the couch is in front of the sectional. That's her bed too. She's got toys on it, and
everywhere she goes, she's taken care of.
Yeah. And then there's one at the end of the couch so she can lay in it and look out the back door when she's there by herself.
She needs to.
Yeah.
Keep you safe.
So when I come in, I'll look at her and she'll do this and just flop on her back and
get all excited.
Paws up, and then she gets belly rubs. She knows when she sees Pawpaw, it's time to get belly rubs. So I'll go over and I'll rub her belly and stuff.
Soul.
I'll rub her belly and everything, and then when I get done. But it's funny because we was going through our photos and stuff, and like I had a clear tote of like Doritos or something.
Okay.
Because if she hears a bag, and I tell my wife it's her medication. She's got the munchies like a little stoner. Yep. She's got to get that little snack. If she hears anything, if she thinks I'm in the kitchen, she comes running.
Just like, what do you have for me?
She's always hungry. And a lot of it, I tell my wife it's because the medication she's on, she's got the munchies like a little stoner.
Yeah.
But, it's probably because she's such small portions spread out through the day that she's always on the verge of being hungry. And like
just
me.
enough to keep her hungry.
And, but yeah, she's my little baby.
She's your one. So we picked up where we had to when you left your job unexpectedly. You were already in a BNI group. Your BNI people rallied and helped you start this business.
That's one of the reasons that I'm so into this BNI group that I'm a member of, because the day. I think our meeting was like the day after I quit my job. And I was like, well, I'm either going in there and telling them that, it's nice meeting y'all. I'm going to see y'all later. Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work. And we were meeting over at a loft.
Oh, really?
And this guy, Rob, he's actually my insurance agent, was our president at the time. And, so I got to thinking, and I'm sitting here getting blown up with phone calls for service work and stuff. And I'm like,
what am I going to do?
I'm pretty much a heat and air company right now. I'm just not legal. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know
side job Bob.
what am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically side job Bob right now. So I told, we had an insurance guy, we had a banker, we had a tax lady, we had a business attorney, we had everybody there.
To start
And
a
it was
business.
like I got all the Legos here to build me a castle.
Yeah.
And so before the meeting started, I was like, can I talk to y'all after this meeting? So we
Yeah.
had a little powwow afterwards, and I'm like, help.
Yeah.
And before the week was up, I had my workers' comp, my liability, the banker in the group, got my business checking, told her credit card department they're giving me a $10,000 credit card or she's going to put a foot somewhere.
So Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and then Tax Force Inc., Nikki over Tax Force Inc. got my, you know, got me together, you know, his EINs and, you know, you got to do
you
this,
set
this,
up.
this, you know, this is your, this, you know, and just like everybody rallied around me. And it was funny because the company I used to work with, that guy actually called and threatened some people and said that was his seat.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, he's got proof he paid out of his pocket. It's his seat.
That was such a, I'm so glad you or wife told you to do that seat in your name.
Yeah. Yeah. She's,
'Cause-
like I said, she's always been the voice of reason. You know,
Yeah.
when I want to do something stupid, she's like reels me back in like a fish.
Come
Like,
on.
nope,
come back.
nope, not today.
Yeah. So your group rallied and got you right.
Yeah. Everybody just kind of rallied around me and B&I basically put me in business.
Yeah. I mean, you already had the business, but it just made you legally.
Yeah. Yeah. Made me legal
Compliant.
for less.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we are still in that group. We've had some of the people on here already. They all speak very highly of you.
And well, I try I don't know if it's just me showing my age or what, but I think reputation
42.
is everything. Yeah. Again. But
It is, yeah.
To me, reputation's everything. And that was something I picked up, you know, in my years in the Marines. You know, you are, you know, your reputation, you know,
Yeah.
and there's heating and air companies that have reputations that you know, unfortunately reflects badly on their teams because that reputation follows everyone in that company.
Yeah.
And, you know,
It can make or break you.
right.
And people will trust you based on what their neighbor said about you.
Oh, yeah. And I do, other than Facebook posts, I do no marketing.
Really?
I do no marketing. I don't buy Google reviews. I don't even do Facebook ads. Like I don't boost posts and pay for
either.
Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Everything I do is word of mouth. You know, I get calls and I always ask people because in my dispatch CRM, there's a spot that says, you know, how did you get this customer? Like, where's it from?
Yeah.
You know, was it a B&I referral? There's a B&I tab. I click that. You know, if it was a previous customer, I put the customer's name in there.
Yeah.
You know, but usually it's like
Word of mouth.
somebody on Germantown Facebook page. You know, somebody will say, "Oh, my air's broke,"
Yeah.
and out of the first 10 comments, 8 of them's going to have my name on it. You know, and that's
Because your reputation.
that's
That's everything.
yeah. I mean, I will go above and beyond. In fact, when I leave here today, I'm going to a house in Shepherdsville. This customer had we put a new system in for him at the beginning of last year. Evidently, my guys didn't sticker it, you know, but I became a sticker bandit. Like I want pictures in the dispatch software, not of the equipment with a sticker. Like if they put pictures on it now without the sticker, then I'm not going to go back to the customer and be like, "Hey, can I go down in your basement?
Can
and
I
get
put a
picture?"
sticker on your stuff?
Yeah, can I put stickers on?
Yeah.
Can I be a little kid and just paint my numbers on the front of your?
Yeah.
But they know now because I've had to reiterate it because they get in there, they do their job, and they're gone, and they don't think about the little things that I think about.
Yes.
And so, but this guy didn't have my number. He called one of the big companies in town. Well, they said they were actually doing. I think they were it's one of those plumbing companies that now do heating and air and electrical.
Okay.
You know, because they ran a license from somebody.
Yeah.
And they were working on the water heater. And he said, we're going to clean your furnace while we're here because, for $20 or something, whatever, part of the sales to that water heater.
Yeah.
It's like what is it? It's like a shell game or the, keep your eye on the moving hands or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, we're going to do this for free. You're going to pay $1,000 more for this water heater, but we're going to clean your furnace for free. Or,
you think you're getting a deal.
It's sleight of hand. They just, the money's there. You're paying for it. They just move it over to a different line item.
Yeah.
And that's like all the companies that say, if you get a free furnace with a new system, get a free air conditioner with a new system. It's not free.
No.
They're like, well, I thought that was free. I'm still paying $8,000. Well, yeah, we're going to give you a $800 credit, back on the furnace, but it's piled in there because if they did do it for free, they'd go out of business.
Oh, sure.
Because they're losing money.
Yeah.
But people are suckers for that.
Yeah. And they don't know, and they're usually calling you in a desperate moment.
The company that done this water heater, they said, oh, this has got a bad gas valve.
Okay.
What happened is they tested the gas pressure. There's a little lug. We take an Allen wrench to take out and stick a tool in it to check gas pressure.
Okay.
They did it and they stripped it. So now it's leaking.
Yeah.
Well, the company calls the distributor to get the part. And he goes, who put this furnace in? Well, the distributor is someone I deal with a lot. So they said, we're not telling you who it is. I'm going to call them and let them know there's an issue with one of their installs. So the distributor calls me, and 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes later, the customer calls me because they found out, you can run the serial number if you're a distributor or heat and air company. You can usually log in the serial, put in the serial number on a certain website, and it tells who purchased it and when it was installed, warranty. That's how we verify warranties on equipment.
Okay.
And
but that's a little more work for the customer, so they probably wouldn't do that first to find out.
Right. Well, the customer can't do it. It's something heat and air company. So the company that came in there to do the repair told them, they pulled it up and it's like, yeah, this company installed it and they stripped it out. Just let's throw this other company under the bus because you're going to start using us from now on.
Right.
We got our claws into you. We're going to upsell you for everything. So the guy called me. And I said, well, sir, what time do you get off work? He said, 4:00. And I said, well, it may be a little after 4, but I'm going to come by there this afternoon. If that part is stripped out, I'm going to replace it for you. And he goes, what's it going to cost? And I said, well, honestly, if you let someone else touch a system I put in, that voids your warranty, your labor warranty, because I can't labor something somebody's already touched.
Right.
But I'm coming out there anyway. I'm going to go on and pick up this part that they say is bad. If not, then I'll just return it tomorrow. So I went and picked up the gas valve that they said was bad, faulty, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to change it. And this guy's not going to pay a dime. But there'll be stickers. You better believe there's going to be stickers.
I'm going to make it rain those stickers.
That gas valve's $200, my cost. Yeah. And that's, on a service call, that's then my time, it's an hour labor and everything else that's I'm doing for free.
Might even be out of your way. Thankfully, this one is.
Well, no, it's out of my way. I'm on the south end of Shepherdsville and Hillview area, and this is on the other side of Shepherdsville.
Oh, so it is.
Yeah, so it's out of my way.
It's out of your way.
But he's one of my customers that unfortunately didn't have my information and called somebody else. Or actually, it was the water heater. They were there doing the water heater, and so they tried to slide that. Let's service this here, and let's try to make some money over here.
Oh, and customers don't know that.
No, they don't know that. So I'm going to go out there and not make a dime and make sure he's happy.
Yeah.
And make sure they're stickers.
Well, I do always know if I send anyone your way, you're not going to charge them unless it is actually something worth charging.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about, the free second opinions.
Yeah.
If I go out there and there's nothing wrong, just like, I told a lady the other day, I said, I'd love to sell you something, but there's nothing for me to sell you.
Yeah. And that's
She's like, well, what do I owe you for coming? What do I owe you for coming by? I was like, ma'am, I was here 5 minutes. But but then again, that's kind of a double-edged sword. I can do that. Guys, that's why I'm doing those calls personally.
Yeah.
Because
you still have to pay their payroll to go out there.
But, if I don't pay myself this week, I don't care. If I'm not my whole business model is set up on my guys generating revenue,
Yeah.
not so much me generating revenue.
It's not great. I don't
Yeah.
love that for you.
I mean, there's revenue there, and I'm going to generate revenue. I do all of our sales,
Okay.
every time somebody needs a new system, I'm the one that they talk to. Since I'm the one answering the phones all the time, I'm the one going there. I'm looking at it, measuring the job up. I'm going
Yeah.
out to reading blueprints for new constructions and things like that,
Yeah.
and making those sales. But at the same time, if I go out there and on a free call, who cares?
Yeah. Well, and it's building.
Yeah.
It's building trust. It's building.
I've had other heating and air companies is like, you only charge $75 to clean their furnace and, do a fall service and everything. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, how do you make money? How do you pay for that van and that gas and that employee for an hour and everything? I was like, I don't. But I put a sticker on it and I'm building a customer base,
yeah.
because there's people that's done these surveys and these on all this, the legwork, and all the spreadsheets and analyzed all the data and talked about how it takes costs the company like $500 to bring in a new customer.
Interesting.
But I can do it for $75.
Yeah.
So
you're
that cleaning,
cheating the system.
that cleaning, getting in there doing that cleaning at $75, I'm barely breaking even on it.
Yeah.
But at that break even, I'm not out of pocket, but I'm
Right.
landing a customer.
When something goes wrong, they see the sticker because you're a sticker bandit
Yes.
and they're going to call you first.
Yes.
Where's the best place for people to find you when, let's say they aren't a sticker owner,
If they're not a sticker owner,
but they're like, man, I really need my stuff looked at or fixed.
honestly, if you send up the bat signal on Facebook,
Yeah.
Gotham is going to call.
Yeah, I figured. I always see your name on there when someone reaches out. You are very active on Facebook, so people can find you on Facebook. Do you still have DonnieSatterly.com?
No.
Oh,
No, that was an expense I didn't need. I started getting rid of some of the expenses, and luckily I did, later on in life, find that good woman to ground me and everything. And she's like, when I started doing real estate and buying rental properties and stuff, she was like, are you sure?
what are you doing?
And then my first rental property was my mom's house, my first investment property. We were visiting my mom. She was living with my aunt, and we found it. And it was a bank foreclosure, so we got it cheap. And I went in there and had money saved up from doing those side jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't working for myself for nothing yet. But I went down there and we slept on air mattresses. There was 3 of us, me, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law. We stayed down there for a couple of weeks straight and gutted and rebuilt that house in like 18 days.
Oh, wow.
New floor joists in the kitchen, got rid of all the rotted lumber, new cabinets, new everything. I even put new washer and dryer, new HVAC, all that stuff in there, all new appliances for her.
You set it up.
And it was funny because when I had my wife go get my mom, and she come over and she's like, and I built the house. I remodeled the house to what she likes. A big farmhouse, apron sink, and LED
nice.
lights, and white cabinets and stuff that she likes. So I was like, Mom, I need she's like, this is nice. You're going to make money on this house.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I kind of want to talk to you about that. I need to ask you something. She's like, well, I ain't got no money. And I was like, Mom, I've never asked you for money. What makes you think that? She's like, well, I figured you just spent all your money here.
Yeah. Just peanut butter crackers.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I was like, I need a favor. And she's like, what? And I said, I kind of had to lie to her a little bit because she's an old stubborn woman.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah. But I said, if I rent it out, somebody's going to destroy it. And I got so much sweat equity in this house, I'm going to be mad and lose my cool.
Yeah.
If I sell it, I got to pay a ton of capital gains taxes. Will you stay here until I figure out what I'm going to do with the house? And
so you did a little.
Yeah, the little Jedi mind trick. And then a few months later, she's like, what are you going to do with this house? And I was like, what house? Your house? She's like, you know.
Yeah.
But, and it worked out great. And, that my brother ended up moving in with her, which helps with her because she's getting older.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Is
so
she still in that house?
Yeah, she's still in the house.
And that
It's
was
down
your
in New
first
Haven.
one?
But that was my first
That was your
investment
first
property.
one?
And I owed the bank 30 on it, but then the appraisal was like 135. So I was able to refinance that and end up refinancing for like 80 and was able to go buy a duplex for 40 and go renovate it.
And they just kept going.
And then it just kept going. But instead of, by that point, I'm working for myself and we're still working my weekends and everything else because I can't sit still for some reason.
No.
Unless
you take a melatonin.
I take that back. I'm the type of person when I come in for the evening and I'm completely done, when I'm not in the shop messing with duct work or I'm not on the laptop, when I'm done, when I take my shower at the end of the day, I'm done. If my wife says, you want to run to Walmart? I'm like, no.
Forget about it. I'm about to take a melatonin.
No, when I
Get out of here.
When I take a shower, I'm not coming back out of this house because as soon as I start sweating, I got to go in and get another shower if I go to bed. I'm
Take
done.
your shower, you put your moo-moo on, you take your gummy
Yep.
with your electric blanket and your cute little dog.
I take my shower, I throw on some jogging shorts, and I sit on the couch and watch an episode of something. Then I take my melatonin and go to bed.
What are you watching right now?
Man, I finished Chicago Fire. So
Okay, that's a good one.
then I switched to Chicago PD, and I just started watching season 2, episode 1 last night. So it just went over to that one.
You didn't want to try something too different.
Well, there's
They're good.
so on these smart TVs, you got all these apps and all this
There's
stuff.
so
going
many
on.
choices. Yeah.
So that's on Peacock.
Okay.
But on Paramount, you got all the Taylor Sheridan stuff and like Landman.
You like those?
Yeah.
I like those too.
But the thing is, I can't go in and watch like a whole season because they only release once.
I know.
I have
So annoying.
it sounds crazy, but I have 2 sets of shows I watch.
Okay.
It's like a truck driver trying to keep 2 books.
Yeah.
But I had stuff I watched with my wife
Yeah.
and stuff when my wife's not in the room.
Actually, we're the same way.
So if like last night, for example, I'm watching Chicago PD and she comes in, sits down on the couch and I'm like, I hit pause.
You know, you gotta.
I hit pause and I'm like, you want to watch your show? Yeah. So if like Fire Country, all of those shows that are on Peacock or on Paramount Plus, all the Taylor Sheridan stuff like Landman and
We
then,
like those. Yeah.
yeah. Then you got Fire Country and all those. We'll watch those. Like she likes that show Elsbeth.
Okay.
And we'll watch that, Tracker.
But then when she falls asleep, then you can put
yeah, exactly.
back
And
on.
and she's always laying this way, so I'll go, nope.
Yep.
Click, pause.
Husband will look around.
Yep.
Yeah.
The eyes are closed. I hit pause and I go back to my show. And I like her show. I like those shows too.
Yeah.
But I don't watch them without her because she likes them and I don't feel like watching them twice.
Yeah.
So
I get mad when he watches it without me.
yeah. And she's on one now and I can't hardly Bridgerton or something.
Yeah. I've watched it before. Yeah.
She's watching that show now.
That's a good one.
When she comes in, I'll watch it with her, but I can't get into it. So I'm just categorizing
That's
receipts.
a show you can do.
I'm
stuff.
categorizing receipts on my phone while she's doing that. I'm like, okay, that's job supplies.
Right. That's the show that you can get work done.
Yep. I got to get work done during that show.
Well, Donnie, I am so grateful that you just spent an hour with me. I know how busy you are. We will put your information in the show notes and we're done. You did great. You filled an hour. I was wondering, how am I going to?
I told you, I love hearing myself talk. I can talk. I have no problem talking. And it's crazy because like when I first started doing like BNI and networking and stuff, when it's time for your 8-second commercial or 30-second, whatever it is, I'd see my name on there and my name's coming up and I could feel the heartbeat would start going faster and I'd have what I'm going to say in my head. But as soon as my picture pops up, it's like,
and I don't remember anything.
I'm like, y'all know me. You know what I do. That's it. And
that's pretty much what you say.
Yeah, that's pretty
Throw
much.
in some information.
Yeah, first visitors there, I may say, hey,
this is who I am.
Yeah.
I don't love public
speaking. If you're
speaking
cold in your house,
either.
it's your own damn fault because you didn't call me.
But people remember that.
Yeah.
And now people use it and make it into their, sayings.
Right. But it's crazy because, even with customers, I think it's one of the reasons that's my wife gets home and she's like, because when her and I first met, I still was very militarized.
Sure. Yeah.
And, we would say things like, she would say, close your eyes. And she's like, what's the guy at the end of at Applebee's? What's the guy at the end of the bar wearing? And I'm like, the guy in the flannel on this side or the gray hoodie on the other side?
Always looking
and looking around, knowing my environment. And to this day, she knows that I like to sit, facing the door, and I don't want people behind me.
You have her things.
There's certain military things, but I used to be so antisocial. And she's like, you've done a full turnaround.
Yeah.
Because we'd be we'd go to a cookout or something like that. I'm like, you're ready. Like, I have no desire to, but now hey, how you been?
You're ready to go. Yeah.
Now I'm Mr. Social Butterfly, and I can talk for hours and hours. And my customers, if there's something in common, like they'll say, hey, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go to the lake. We'll sit and
I'm
talk.
watching Chicago PD.
Yeah. Well, we don't really talk about television, but
not yet.
It depends on what they're watching. I was in one, and they was watching a show. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was back when Yellowstone was on. They were watching. They were watching an episode of Yellowstone that I'd already seen, and I was like, man, I won't tell you that guy's about to get shot. And they're like, will you shut up? And,
that would be so maddening.
And I'm like, I'm just kidding. That guy's not about to get shot. And then all of a sudden you're and that guy gets shot, and she just looks at me.
Crying.
But and my guy, that's one thing. Like, we're a small family ran company.
Yeah.
My little brother's one of my service guys. My brother-in-law is one of my installers. His nephew's his helper.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons, like, I have plenty of work. We stay busy. When other companies are slowing down, we're still chugging along and staying, pretty consistent. And it's because it's, when my guys are in a house, it's social. Everybody's sociable and we're friendly. And, if I thought someone had an attitude, I wouldn't hire somebody or send somebody in a house if I thought they would make someone uncomfortable. I have a thing, personally, if I couldn't send them to my grandma, if my grandma would be uncomfortable with them, I can't send them to a customer's house.
It's not going to work.
Yeah. If she's going to be uncomfortable, then everybody's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because she was an old lady that used to carry a gun or 38 in her pocket. And I remember as a kid watching her lay a shotgun on a bar. I grew up in a bar in the west end of Louisville.
Yeah.
And she would throw a shotgun on the bar and just throw the trigger, and it'd throw her against the wall, and she'd come back and throw it back up her again and hit the other trigger if they didn't stop fighting.
She was badass.
And I was her first
she's
grandkid.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. And if I think that she would be uncomfortable in her, and if they're working in her house, I'm not going to, I can't hire you. I can't work you.
Yeah.
I want everybody to, luckily we have that, a lot of family around, and we're very, sociable with people, so it works out great.
I do get that a lot. 'Cause we're the same way. Friends and family, making sure that our people are taken care of.
Right.
So great. Well, you ready to walk out? Let's do it. You look nice. You should go somewhere nice.
Yeah.
Did it.
I'm going to another job site. That's as nice as it gets.
You're going to the Shepherdsville.
Yep.
Gotcha.